Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Kassandra and today we're doing a Yin Yoga practice to help you ease into sleep. This is a very restorative, slow-paced, gentle Yin Yoga class so that you can unwind after a long day, reduce stress, reduce anxiety, and just be really ready to go to bed right away after this. And honestly, if you wanted to, you could do this practice lying down in your bed. It would actually be a lot more comfortable. You wouldn't have the hard surface of the floor. So if you want to do this directly on your mattress, then you're already ready to go to bed right after, and you can just be in your pajamas. It's a simple and easy sequence to do. If you are not doing it in your bed and you're just doing it on your yoga mat like I am here, make sure you have plenty of props, especially pillows and cushions and that kind of stuff. So I will be using one block, but then I'm also going to make use of all these beautiful pillows that I have here behind me. We are going to begin in a comfortable seated pose just for a grounding, soothing meditation. So cross-legged may be comfortable for you. If it's not, you can always sit yourself up on a block or start in a kneeling stance. Whatever helps you settle the low back, settle the hips, and then palms will rest on the tops of the knees. Drop the shoulders down and away from the ears and close the eyes. And usually I like to rock a little bit forward and back, side to side, just so I can find the true center. That true point of alignment from the crown of the head all the way down to the tailbone. Staying long through the side of the waist. Drop the shoulders. And once you find your center, resolve to be still. And if you've had any kind of stressful or busy day, you might notice that your mind is still racing. You might find yourself distracted. So if that's the case, try to bring your awareness into the flow of your breath. Notice what it feels like when you inhale through the nostrils and send the breath all the way down into the low belly. And you let that breath exhale back out the same way through the nose. So my favorite breathing exercise to prepare for sleep is to do an inhale for a count of 4, a hold for a count of 2, and an exhale for a count of 6. And drawing out the exhale longer than the inhale is what's going to soothe the nervous system, reduce the energy levels, and just kind of ground you so you can be ready for rest. So if you need to adapt this for any reason, you're welcome to do it. Otherwise, we're going to go for the inhale, count of 4, holding for a count of 2, exhale for a count of 6. I'll guide you through it for the first few rounds, and then you can go on your own. Take an inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 1, 2. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 1, 2. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 1, 2. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Keep going, counting yourself a few more rounds. Inhaling for 4, holding for 2, exhaling for 6. Keep your neck and shoulders relaxed as you breathe. Sit bones anchored to the floor. Take your last 2 rounds here. Come back to your natural flow of breath. Gently blinking the eyes open. Let's make our way into a wide-legged child's pose. So because we want to make this fairly restorative and simple, not too challenging, you don't have to bring your knees too wide. Big toes come together and the knees might just stay hip-width distance apart. If you'd like, you can always bring them a little bit wider than that. And then walk the hands forward. And I find that the most restorative way for me to do this is to just keep the elbows bent with the palms stacked on top of each other, forehead to the ground. So if your forehead doesn't quite make it there, you can always put a pillow underneath you or a blanket or even a block so that you're a little bit more supported. A pillow, a block, or a bolster can also go underneath the hips. And get yourself settled so there's no discomfort in the low back. And imagine all the stress of your day just pouring out of you. Inviting the tension in your joints to dissipate. Letting go fully. And bring some life back into the arms so that you can slowly lift your way back up. And walk the palms in. Bring your knees back. And we're going to lift up into our tabletop pose. So we'll be moving into a really easy pigeon pose. Grab your cushions if you have some, or grab your blocks, some blankets, anything that you can use to prop yourself up here. So you're going to slide your right knee behind the right wrist, and instead of going to the full range of motion where we're trying to align the shin with the top of the mat, we're actually just going to keep that heel in pretty close to the groin. So we're not trying to make this too hard. And if your hip is off the ground here, this is where you can put your block, or you can always put a bolster or a pillow underneath you. So my hip goes to the floor, so I'm just gonna let it sink there. But I will make this pose a little bit easier and more restorative by folding over a pillow. And you can just replace this with a block or a bolster at home. Just let yourself soften and get comfortable. This is a pretty intense pose, but we want to make it accessible and comfortable so that there's no effort from the upper body required. You can just let yourself relax into the shape. And take your time to make any adjustments that feel good. If this feels too intense, prop yourself up a little bit more. This is really not a class about pushing ourselves or like really worrying about increasing our flexibility. This is to relax and prepare for sleep. The goal is to let go. We'll ease out pigeon on this side. Engage the arms a little bit more. Walking the palms in. And we're coming back into our tabletop pose, but really take your time here. You can stretch that right leg back. Get the blood flowing again through your right hip and right glute. And we'll prepare for pigeon pose, or it's actually called swan pose in Yin Yoga. They tend to have different names, but I kind of use them interchangeably, to be honest. So for swan on the second side, you'll be bringing your left knee behind the left wrist. And really, no need to go to your full range of motion here. Try to hold back if you can. And just walk that back foot, lower the hips, either putting a block or a pillow or a blanket underneath your left glute, and we're gonna fold forward. So because I was turning one ear to the mat on the first side, I'm gonna turn the other ear so that my neck is getting the same kind of attention on both sides. Try to do that at home too if you were turning one ear to the floor. Soften the chest and the arms. Simply let yourself relax. Let's start to come out of the pose on this side, just as slowly as you did before. Make any movements again. I like to just stretch the leg back. So keeping your props close by, we're going to move into a forward fold. Forward folds are really great to prepare for sleep, really great to reduce stress and anxiety, and just soothe their nervous system. So we'll keep our right leg extended forward. Bring your left foot to the inside of your right thigh. And you might want to open the knee up a little bit wider, but still face forward towards the top of the mat. If you're working with any hamstring injuries, you can always bend your knee here a little bit. Otherwise, we're gonna move into the fold, and I wanna make this really simple and really easy. So I'm just gonna let the pillow rest on the block so that I'm staying up a little bit higher. And then from here, same as before, you can just turn an ear. So this is not about pushing or pulling or forcing your way into a shape. And take the time to get yourself comfortable. As we hold this pose, you'll naturally be able to go a little bit further into it. But when you're just starting off, go slow. There's really no need to rush it. And take your time to adjust yourself so that it's comfortable to hold. You need to be very mindful of your lower back here. Engage your arms and slowly press to lift yourself back up. And before we go and do the same pose on the other side, you can bend the knees. You can just let the knees fall side to side, windshield wiper motion. Releasing the low back. And we'll go and do the same thing over on the left. So your left leg will stay forward this time. And you'll bring your right foot to the inside of that left thigh. And you can open the knee up a little wider, but just try to keep your hips or your shoulders at least facing straight forward. And depending on the flexibility on this side, you might need to adjust in a different way. I'm gonna prop myself up pretty much at the same height. And whenever you're ready, you can fold in. And just like before, if you were turning one ear to the pillow, turn another ear, so you're keeping things even in the neck, not favoring one side over the other. Draw the shoulder blades down the back. Let the upper body really soften. So you're not holding yourself off of the floor. There should be very little to no engagement in the arms. Let your props hold you up. And let's come out of the pose on this side. Nice and slow. And you can move your props to the side. Just keep them somewhere close by. And like before, bending the knees and just let the knees fall side to side. We'll lower all the way down to our back. Coming into a variation of supported bridge or legs up the wall. If you're close to a wall, you can actually scooch right over to it. Otherwise, you're lifting and pressing the hips up and sliding the block underneath the tailbone or underneath the hips. So right underneath the tailbone at its lowest level. And you're welcome to just stay here, very gentle inversion with the feet flat on the floor and the knees bent. Or you can do my preferred version, which is to extend the legs up toward the sky. And the arms can just rest to the side, palms facing up. Allow your legs to be weightless, the upper body to be heavy. And the knees can definitely be a bit bent here. This is a really great pose to do, especially if you spend a lot of the time during the day standing, if you're on your feet a lot, or if you've had a particularly grueling workout. It's also really great for people who experience swelling in the legs. welcome to hold here with the legs up straight. I'm just going to bend the knees and let them fall into the belly. Not everyone likes this pose. I find it really restorative and really good for my low back, but if you find it uncomfortable in any way, you can either keep your legs up straight or you can just come back into that supported bridge variation with the feet on the floor. Otherwise, you're just letting the knees and the thighs fall into the belly, keeping the hips supported on the block. Try to relax the shoulder blades. And take deep belly breaths without necessarily forcing it. Just allowing your breathing to be slow and steady. And the eyes can close. And regardless of where you were, let's bring the feet back down to the ground. And you can shift the block out of the way. So just lift your hips, move the prop. And we'll finish with a laying spinal twist before going into Shavasana. Arms can reach out to the sides and just move your hips a couple inches to the right before letting both knees drop to the left. Try to keep your right shoulder pressing into the floor. This is a great way to open up the low back. Let gravity pull your knees and your thighs down. And lifting the knees back up one at a time. We'll move into our twist on the other side. So this time your hips shift to the left and your knees can drop to the right. Try to keep your left shoulder on the floor. Chest is facing up. Using as little effort as possible in the pose. Engage the belly, lift the legs back up, and we'll move into Shavasana, our final resting pose. So for this class, because some of you are probably doing this lying down on bed, we're going to end the class in Shavasana, so not lifting up to seated or anything like that. Which means you can stay here for as long as you'd like. I'm going to take Shavasana for about 5 minutes or so. Get settled in the floor, drawing the shoulders down and away from the ears, palms facing up. Take up some space. If you're doing this in bed, you can get under the blankets and get really comfortable. And if it helps you relax, you can come back to the breathing exercise that we did at the beginning of class. Otherwise, just come back to whatever breath is natural to you. Doing a little body scan. Start at the crown of the head and feel the facial muscles, the cheeks, the tongue, the jaw, and the neck let go. The shoulders relax. The arms get heavy. moving down, doing the same thing for the upper back and the chest. Breathing softness into the belly, into the low back, into the hips and pelvis. Relaxing the glutes, the thighs, the knees, the calves, all the way down into the ankles and toes. Like a soothing wave washing over you. Observe your entire body, still and soft. Thank you so very much for doing this practice with me. I hope you enjoyed it. Please do subscribe to my channel and like the video. It would mean a lot to me. And if you'd like to practice with me in person, I encourage you to learn more about my upcoming Iceland yoga retreat. All the details are down below. Thank you everyone, and have a great night's rest. Namaste.